So cutting an onion, this is like going to be a diced onion. This is, a lot of times I don't use the whole onion. So what I do is I'll cut it in half completely and leave the skin on the side I don't cut. Now, I don't need this huge knife, this big knife. It works really well for cutting. But any knife that will cut straight down, cut it through, will do. But this one, I'm not going to use this one today because when I use it, I can't get my hand all the way. I can't get my hand to have a good solid grab on this if I don't start slicing this through first. So it's just a little bit bigger than I want width-wise to cut my onions. So that's the one that I got for Christmas, which I love. This one will do. This is a smaller one. It'll cut through, but the angle of the blade down here doesn't allow for a clean cut on the very bottom. So this one I don't use. I'm not going to use this one today. This one is a little bit too small. It does it too. I mean, you can go in and you can do that on the bottom and the top and get the cores out if you want to easily. It can also cut it straight through. It's wide enough. It works. But I just got this one. This one's a little bit more like a smaller chef's knife, and the tip isn't quite as rounded as this one, if you can see that. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this part way. Okay, so it's a nice solid onion. There it is, and I'm gonna store this part in the refrigerator. Slipping around. So the question on the one video was to cut this out or not to cut this out, to let it hold it so that you can actually cut your onion like this and just skip that part. But for me, it's a little bit easier to just go ahead and cut it out, because if I cut this, then I have to deal with this part of it. I have to cut this again. So my process is not quite the same as the guy on the video, but I will cut this out like I'd like to. He doesn't always cut it out, and then that lets me peel this fairly easily. If I cut this tip off too, I cut this completely off because I don't like this skin that keeps going layer after layer, several layers deep. It just ends up tough in the soup, so I cut it completely off, and I can save that in the freezer if I want for broth or something like that. And some of these are easier to get than not, but you see that thick leathery part? I just don't care for that in my soups. So again, take that off, put it in your freezer, and use it for soup broths and stuff, or just peel it back to where you're comfortable that you're not going to have tough onion parts in your food. Okay, that works for me. So I already showed the one in the one video how I do it. I just hold it up here, and I know that is not what everybody else does, but I hold it up here so that I can get a good grab on it and slice it this way. Keep your fingers out of the way. Then what I do is I turn it like this. And this is where the difference is, where the guy took the core out, the root part out. this is where my difference is. He will save it and let it hold the rest of the vegetable together. But if I hold mine together like this, I don't have to spend the extra time turning that other piece. See what I do? Lay it down and keep going at it. Same thing. It saves just that much time on the end part of it. So that one's done. This little scraper dude. Okay, I'll show you the way that he did it. He did it, and there's no really right way or really wrong way, I don't think, to do this. Again, I don't care for that piece, so I'm going to leave that one on like he did. And onions usually don't like me. But for some reason, these guys are just fine. Okay, so he does this. Oh, I don't like that piece. Guess it's going to be tough. Sorry. Okay, so what he does is he cuts it to about there. Granted, you don't get your fingers too close to the blade doing it this way. Okay. He turns it and minces it this way. But you still have to hold that. And then I gotta figure out, okay, I've got to deal with this piece. So it's not a big deal. It's just like, okay, fine, I got this piece. But you see the extra time it's going to take to cut that up? There's the root. Okay. So, you still get a minced onion.